Rudimental, you guys killed the game, you guys gigged, you guys toured no end. You have a solo with them on Feel the Love. The question is, was there a conscious thought in that solo, or did it just sort of come out the way it did and it's like, yeah, that's cool?
It came out the way it did, to be honest. Like you say, it's a very simple solo. What I have learned in the game is that music has to be accessible, and sometimes the easiest way of doing that is just simplicity.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be too jazzy, it doesn't need to be too fast. It's just like, can people sing along to it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to understand that not everybody's massively musically inclined or has the understanding of how to follow a melody, but if it's simple enough and it's impactful enough, people can get a hold of it.
Who's ready for the trumpet solo? All together! Gotta tell you, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I think if I got to go away like 2 weeks is enough. Come back, reset, do one or two things, make sure everything's all right, and bounce out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Crown.
Love,
brother, love. Appreciate it. It's been ages. What you said last one I saw you was in New Cross.
Yeah, bro. the chicken shop.
The chicken shop, correct. Yeah, exactly. Morley's Chicken.
Yeah.
It's been a while, man. It has been a long while, brother. And I guess since then, obviously you were just saying you've kind of toned down the touring because it's just been full on. You've pulled it back. You know, you've done what every muser wants to do, been on stage, and you pulled it back. Now you're doing more studio, more recording, more producing. But to go all the way back, how old were you when you started? Like, when did this get started?
Boy, my musical journey started from the age of about 7.
Wow.
7, 8, yeah. Back in primary school, I remember it like clear as day, basically. We had a couple of music instrumentalists come into an assembly at primary school.
Okay.
And I remember it, there was a clarinet teacher, there was a violin teacher, and I think there was a saxophone teacher, actually. So, you know, in the assembly, they kind of demonstrated what each instrument was like, and they said at the end of it, if anybody wants to learn an instrument, come and speak to the music teacher and she'll put you down, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I ended up going to the music teacher at the end of the day. It's like, I'm quite interested in learning the clarinet. And then she said, oh, unfortunately, there's no more spaces for clarinets. So I was like, oh, that's a bit of a bummer. But she said, oh, you want to try violin? So I was like, okay, go on, give it a go. Gave it a go for a year. Kind of just, the music just connected with me pretty well. And my music teacher pulled my mum in, which is like, I think he's really musically gifted. We were going to give him another instrument. So then ended up giving me a trumpet. So I was playing 2 instruments at the age of eight. Got through my grades at school for the next 2 years. Did like grade 5 trumpet in 2 years. Got like my grade 4 violin in 2 years as well. And then I got shipped off. Well, I say I got shipped off to. I had an audition for a school called Pimlico School, which is now called Pimlico Academy. And they had like a really specialist music course on the side. So anybody that was given a place into the music course was obviously given a place into the secondary school. Yeah. And your curriculum was, you know, you'll get more music and arts because of it. So you get like an extra 2-3 hours of music tuition a week on top of what you'd get via the curriculum in school. And yeah, it just helped you to build your music up. And then I was going through that for 5 years, did all my grades, ended up doing my GCSE music early. At the back end, I was doing a load of different groups like Camden Jazz Band, Camden Concert Band, orchestras, all these extracurricular music activities which were designed to kind of help you develop your musical ability. And then, I came back to Camden to do my A-levels, and then I had an audition for Trinity College of Music, Trinity College of Music and Dance Conservatoire, where you go to study your instrument for 4 years. And I got a place there and studied jazz trumpet for 4 years. And yeah, that was a really good experience. Met a lot of my peers in the industry. And then I came out of that, and then I was doing, actually between my A-levels and like my first 2 years at music college, I was doing quite a lot of musical theatre shows. So I had a lot of experience of being in the pit and playing the music for musical theatre shows, and that was quite good for this experience and to be able to read really efficiently and, you know, just learning about how to play with others. And then, yeah, that all happened, and I went through uni, did my degree of 4 years, and then I did a tour straight after uni with a band called the Scatterlights, which is like a really world-renowned known ska band that Bob Marley had an affiliation with, associated with, and played with them. And yeah, I did South America for 6 weeks, which was really cool. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Wow.
And then saw my first empanadas. And then, and then yeah, after Scatterlights, kind of off about 6 months, and then I joined Rudimental and been touring with them for about 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah, seen a lot of the world. It's been a great experience. Been fun. Lots of experiences. A lot of emotional madness being away from home and flying from here, there, everywhere. But you know, it's very, very, very good time. I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot on the way.
So can I assume then, going to Trinity, even before Trinity, going to the primary school who got you into music, then going into Trinity, was that the main access into the industry then? Did you not have to do, I guess what some people have to do in terms of be in the right place and go and like meet somebody, speak to people, network, go into jams, try to get yourself in? You were kind of already in, given the fact that you went to Trinity, is that right?
Yeah, I think that what Trinity was really good for me is obviously the education was good, you know what I mean? And the education was, I was very fortunate to have received that kind of education and learning and meeting from really good music teachers, jazz teachers, the rest of it. But I think before that, I was going to a couple of, like I say, the extracurricular things. So like things like Tomorrow's Warriors.
Yes.
That played a very big role in my career at the beginning.
Gary Crosby?
Gary Crosby, yeah, Julian Irons, the whole Tomorrow's Warriors crew, Jazz Jamaica. Yeah, that was a really important aspect of my musical journey, because that opened me up to being like access to professionals who were doing what I wanted to do and being able to get mentorship and stuff like that from them. So that was kind of like second to none.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just building upon that, going to jam sessions, you know what I mean, you know, playing, and still started getting invited to being a part of the jazz band or the jam band, and then, you know, other people hear you play, and then you get other opportunities, and yeah, so it kind of, a lot of what happened stemmed from people around me that I was fortunate to be around, but also getting out there a lot and, you know, like going to jam sessions and just meeting peers who you might not meet. Yeah, just meeting people in these jam sessions and musical activities that you might not meet.
So you mentioned you've toured with Rudimental for 10 years, and I know that for some people it's hard to hold down a relationship for that long, let alone a business relationship, a very successful one, and one that is so in the forefront, in front of everybody, so very public. How did you manage to hold that down for 10 years? How did that even work? Like, because not only is it them choosing you, it's you choosing them. It's your life as well. How did that go about?
Yeah, I mean that was quite a difficult thing. Like, I think being in a relationship and touring is hard.
Yes.
Full stop. Like, it's just difficult. Whatever way you would have put it, it's just difficult. You know, I mean, difficult in the main fact of it is like, it's kind of hard to build something like that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a relationship. It could be a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a mentorship, any kind of ship. It's kind of hard to kind of solidify that if you're always away.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Out of sight, out of mind. It's a meaning for, it's a saying for a reason. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult, definitely. But what I found really helped is if you're gonna get in anything like that, even a friendship or a relationship, there needs to be an understanding that I was in love with music. Do you know what I mean? Music is a very important part of my life, and in some aspects of it may seem like that's a priority, and sometimes that's hard for people to actually understand, and it's also hard to explain it because it's not always something that's just easily be easy to explain. It's like, oh, do you want to go out tonight? I'm not saying this was an example, but like, you know, potentially you want to go out with your girlfriend one night, but you want to be in the studio because you want to get creative. If you don't get your creativity in, that's gonna upset you along the way. It's just gonna it's gonna interrupt the space in general. So having somebody close to you that could understand that music is, I have to dedicate a lot of my time to music to be good at it or to become the person that I want to be, to, you know what I mean, to be that high level musician, producer, whatever. A lot of time is going to be spent on that. So finding somebody that kind of fits around that can be difficult. But don't get me wrong, it can happen.
Sure.
But there needs to be like a very kind of clear understanding between and dialogue between the two people.
Because it's a big part of your life. Like for somebody who's a painter, I'd imagine they need to spend time painting, and I'd imagine painting's quite a solo pursuit. And while you're painting, you're probably not gonna be answering your phone, you're probably not gonna be talking, you're not gonna be interacting. That's your time, you're exercising, whatever it is when you're getting, do you know what I mean? When you're getting your paint on the canvas. And similarly with music, whether or not it's towards something that's tangible, I'm recording this for that, or I can't be here because I've got a jam session or a gig, maybe I just want to sit and blow my horn for an hour.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I just need to do that. Do you know what I mean? And this is the only time. So yeah, you're right. Like finding people who can understand that can be difficult. I mean, our life is very solo, and it's great when we're in a band because they all get it. But at the same time, we're very much like, yeah, it's a very solo pursuit. I think.
Yeah, completely.
So Rudimental, you guys killed the game, you guys gigged, you guys toured no end, so much so that you're probably tired of touring right now. You have a solo with them on Feel the Love, mad iconic solo. And I want to ask you about the story of the solo, even if there is one. I don't know if you just kind of played it and then, oh, that's kind of cool, stuck, and then turns out to be big. But what's fascinating as a musician, as a jazz musician, and just somebody who wants to, you know, play a solo instrumentalist, when it comes to soloing, part of your head wants to do the most complicated thing to look really clever. Do you know what I mean? You want to show that I can reference Miles Davis and John Coltrane over this kind of house beat. Whereas your solo on that track is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. It's not crazy. But what it does mean is that when you're stood in front of 30,000, 40,000 people, you don't even have to blow the trumpet because you've got everybody. They all know the songs. The question is, was there a conscious thought in that solo, or did it just sort of come out the way it did and it's like, yeah, that's cool?
It just kind of came out, the way it did, to be honest. I think, like you say, it's a very simple solo. Like harmonically, it's just, there's no kind of anything crazy. But what I have learned in the game is that music has to be accessible, and sometimes the easiest way of doing that is just simplicity.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be too jazzy. It doesn't need to be too fast. It's just like, can people sing along to it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to understand that not everybody's massively musically inclined or has the understanding of how to follow a melody. But if it's simple enough and it's impactful enough, people can get a hold of it. You know what I mean? It's just like how jingles work.
Yeah,
I mean, not to use I don't want to use the example, but you know, some da 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 da. It's like it's simple.
Yeah.
But everybody, KFC. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like something simple, catchy that people can vibe to, really. And the funny thing about that solo is initially it was at the end of the track.
Right.
End of the track. And one of the former guys, Amir, he decided to put it pretty much in the middle of the track.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember some people was like, what the hell's the trumpet solo doing on the D&B track? I was like, what? But it worked, and then, you know, I saw it a bit more.
Exactly. Coincidentally.
So I like to think it was, well, I don't like to think, I know it was a good decision.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Did that then, obviously, so you said the principle is ultimately play something that people can understand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're not playing giant sets, or Donnelly, whatever. It's just simple. So was it that mentality that gave you that solo, or doing the solo, you see, oh, actually, simple makes a lot more sense, and then you kind of did it then inform how you soloed on future works?
Well, it didn't necessarily. It didn't necessarily change the way I soloed the things afterwards, or impact the way that I solo in general. It was just like that. Just felt like it fit. Yeah. The tune. Like, but there's no point trying to do a bebop solo over that. Nah, doesn't work. There's no room for loads of notes. The track alone has a lot of that beats that kind of take up a lot of the space anyway. It just needed something just to sit on top of it and just follow what was going on. And it turned out to be kind of like a euphoric moment, and it just felt right. It doesn't necessarily impact how I approach my solos and work now. Right. But at that time, it worked. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it just came about. Okay. So you've had great success with Rudimental, and they're not the only band that you've been involved in. Not the only band that you've had success with. Jimpster, you did The Back. Yeah, The Back, Jimpster. Yeah. That made great success. So actually, you know what you're doing. I hope so. I seem to think so, yeah. The question is, what is that? What are you doing? What is bringing about the success? That's a good question. I think what's helped me in being where I'm at in my career is being in it a lot and it not being my project. So working with people like Rudimental, that's been really good to see how things work, what people are inclined to go for. That even just learning Ableton and DJing, and kind of I learned a lot of that from being around the Rudy boys, because, you know, I had zero music technology training at school, and then in fact I was quite weirdly against it. I don't know why. I was like, music tech is just not for me. I'm just like a traditionalist. I like management. I want to play management. But obviously with the advancement of technology and being able to record yourself and make your own music, a lot of it's relied on technology. So I guess I was kind of forced to learn it. But I wouldn't say forced, because I actually understood that this has to actually be a part of my skill set if I'm to further myself any further. And I think like the pandemic and COVID and this lockdown and everything was a very good time to kind of develop those kind of skills. Because I always said to people, if you didn't learn something new during that time, you're never in your life gonna have like 2-3 years just blocked off to learn something new. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, I mean, a lot of people use that time and became DJs. That's a whole other conversation to have. But yeah, I think I spent a lot of my time during the pandemic solidifying my actual practice. Being able to use Ableton, use a DAW, learn to record myself, because a lot of how music's made and digested, it's assumed at the moment it's completely changed in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Especially with the rise of like social media and how people associate music with events or videos or funny moments.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of, for me, it's just slightly changed the way people build music. Not to say that people still organically go into a studio and just write their heart out. There's been a lot of people that just try to get that quick hit and then go into their kind of artistry after that. But maybe going back and give you a more kind of clear-cut, definitive answer to your question about why I'm here and how I got here. It's been around people that are doing it. I think that's the most important thing. And, you know, I think one thing that I really do enjoy and I think really helps is like just general mentorship and just having some kind of guidance throughout the industry, because it can be very techie.
Yes, it can be. Yes, it can be. That's pretty much the point of why I've put this podcast together, because I want. I know when I was on the come up, it was helpful to be around musicians. I started in church, so I had a lot of older musicians who were able to at least teach me some of the ways of performing, you know, and playing with a band. But then when it comes to coming out of that particular environment, going into the wider industry, there's not everybody's in it because they want to make music. Largely it's because they want to make money, and some people are in it because they want to influence people. And there's a lot of different things happening, whereas you're sort of like, well, I just want to play my instrument and I just want to maybe make a bit of money. So it's helpful, being around people who are doing it and have been doing it, people you can trust, people you know that you can sort of take their kind of leadership on or their advice on a thing. And also people who can advise on whether it's a good idea or not to sign particular contracts and get involved with particular people. I'm not going to name drop anybody, but I know that I've been told so many times by people, hey, stay away from that person because of X, Y, Z, A, B, C, you know, or this guy you really need to meet, you need to get, you know, this or this woman, this person, get involved with this person. So like actually, it's as much as it is a very solo pursuit and a very solo kind of career path, you need everybody to make it work. Like you need a lot of people around you to make it happen. So I want to ask you, particularly for those who are on the come up, particularly for younger musicians, have you noticed any who have sort of, you're starting to see their face a little bit more and they're becoming a bit more successful and they're getting a bit more in, they're getting a few more calls? You don't have to mention anybody, or you can, but just out of interest, if you'd seen anybody.
Anybody, what, instrumentalist or it's like a...
Instrumentalists, singers, DJs, musicians, you know, music people as well.
Well, there's this, I want to touch upon one point you said about, you know, just my advice: if you try to get paid in this game, it doesn't happen quick.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you that now. If you want to be a DJ or producer or instrumentalist to get money, not gonna happen overnight. I'm telling you that for now, because it's actually funny because I sat down with myself and it's like, you know, why do I actually do this? Because it's not massively lucrative. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can happen. A few times, so they're not. And there's a whole different conversation to be had about why. We can touch upon that at some point. Yeah. But in terms of why do I do this, it's because I love it, man. Like, there you go. I love it, and it goes back to the point where I was talking about relationships and stuff like that. I do this because I love it. I do it because it's something I've always wanted to do, something I've always connected with. It's a very much big part of my identity. It just wouldn't. Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's because of my love for it that I make it work. I'm not rich, I get by, but I get by because I've had to adapt. There's no, I learned really quickly that just being a trumpeter and being comfortable is not that easy to do.
Yeah.
One, because there's way more people. No, there's you're not the only trumpeter. Two, you're gonna come across people who are gonna be more hungrier than you at some point, and if you drop the ball, it could easily be kicked away from you. Before you know it, you're on the bench. Three, sometimes people are just in a better position to make it than you are.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's sometimes how the world works. So I'm not necessarily talking about people having more money than you to get to the position. You know, there might be an instrumentalist whose dad or whatever is in the London Symphony Orchestra. As long as the child, you know what I mean, there's a clear in into doing something quite stable. That's just an example. It's not one that I'm saying I've experienced that, but I know something like that can happen. Yeah, so I've had to be adaptable. I also do stuff like music consultancy. I do mentorship. I run a charity that's involved in music that helps male identifying musicians who have mental health problems. I teach very rarely, but I do still give lessons. I'm a producer. I write for people, songwriter. I'm a DJ. I do all those kind of things. You know what I mean? And bringing all those skill sets together and kind of with it all working within music is why it kind of works for me. Even though I've got like hands in 2, 3, 4 different pies, they all come down. They all like sit under the umbrella of music. So it's always gonna work. But yeah, I think that you have to be adaptable and really, really on top of it. And one person I've seen that, to go back to the question you were saying, that's like really doing that well is this bass player called Eddie Lopez. He's a bad boy musician. Okay. Bad man musician. Toured with Rudy for a little while, playing bass, and I know he's madly in demand at the moment. He's playing for everybody, and I think he just got an endorsement deal with, I think it might have been Fender. But yeah, Eddie Lopez, you're a bad man.
Why is Eddie Lopez a bad man? How's he gone from just being an all right man to a bad man? What's he done? What's made him?
I think it's just I've just watched his growth for the past 2-3 years, and it's been incredible, man. Do you know what I mean? The guy's touring the world. He reminds me a lot of himself. He reminds me a lot of myself because of at that young age, he's very busy, loves what he does. Always with music, you know. I saw him come off the other day. I saw him come off a plane the other day, use the airport toilet, changed his suit. He's gone to Sunday church to play bitch. I mean, guy's about the life. Yes. It's about the life. Do you know what I mean? It's that dedication and that kind of hunger that I see with him. That I know that guy in 5-10 years he's gonna be up there, like in terms of like people like Pino Palladino, like that level of like the guy kind of thing. So yeah, for sure.
It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come without blood, sweat and tears. It doesn't come without effort. It doesn't come without sacrifice. And you can have all of those things and it still may not even come. At least not for the first 5 years, first 10 years, first 15 years. I've been playing the sax for about 21 years, and I would say that maybe the last 5 years of my playing have I started to like really see some significant growth and have some experiences where I'm like, wow, I think this is what it's about. Yeah. But even then, I'm still relatively young in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, there's always going to be another sax player. There's always going to be another trumpeter. I'm not really prepared to stand on a table and do the whole neck bend thing and play the sax that way. I'm not prepared to do that. I'm not prepared to jump up and down playing the sax. And because I'm not prepared to do some of those things, there's a whole market that I've just locked off because do you know what I mean?
That's niche. Yeah.
That's what they want, and I'm not prepared to do it. So even with the 20 years experience and all the rest of it, I'm still not going to be able to access certain levels or certain experiences just because of maybe some of the choices I make. However, I'm not going to compromise on those choices because that may mean I get an opportunity to be here, there, or do you know what I mean? I'm happy in my lane. That's what I do. I don't want to look back on a video recording and think, then that's the one that I'm now known for, and now I'm the guy doing that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely going to take. It's a journey that doesn't come about just like that by any means. But then, is it about the destination as such, or is it actually about the journey and discovering and do you know what I mean? Figuring out
what it is, and finding your identity. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, finding your identity is a massive, massive, massive part of becoming a musician or a producer or anybody that works in this game. I think what you got to understand is that you could easily be manipulated or swayed into a different lane or try to do something you're maybe not so comfortable with because it earns you a little bit of peas. Yeah. There's not to say that hasn't happened with me before, and I've encroached into that kind of headspace and realm. But for me to be able to do that, and I think the advice I would for anybody else is you've got to see how that impacts you moving forward. Like, if you're going to do something like that, be prepared to not get called for this. Like, it's straight up real talk.
That's it. Yep.
Because, like, because people do watch, people do talk, and, you know what I mean? Some people will just don't want to get involved with people that do that. Sounds harsh, but it's the reality of the game. So, yeah, I think not everything looks, things can look shiny, but once you pick it up, you realise that it's not good quality. So, you know, you got to be careful about how you go about that and manoeuvre appropriately.
There's a question I wanted to ask you, and that point has just brought that question to mind. When it comes to producing music, is there a balance between producing music that you think people want to hear versus music that you want to make?
Oh yeah, there's definitely. Well, you see, does that impact me, or do I think that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely happens. But I think for you, what is your choice when it comes to making music? Do you make it because you're like, they're gonna love this, or do you make it because I love this?
I make it because I love it, and it's a accurate representation of my sound. So. Yeah, I mean, I produce like my music kind of falls, I guess, under deep house, soulful house, jazzy house. You know, I have a lot of Afro influence, a little bit of Latin influence in terms of like the rhythms and the beats that might come out of my productions and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it takes a very particular headspace to just produce what people want to hear. Because I feel like you've got to be in it like a lot. You've got to be in it to understand, be on trend with what's happening, and maybe even having somebody barking down your ears like, oh, this is where it's going. Like, you need to.
Sure.
You know, and there's cats like that do that, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong. That's fine. There's guys, girls, whatever, that can do that, and that's fine. But for me, that's more of a job way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Which is, like I want to reiterate, that's not a negative way of thinking about it. But for me, I don't do that. I don't really want to do that, so I don't really mix like that. Unless I really like the artist and I really have the time and the hunger to actually produce or drop something that I know they want, and then that's fine. That can be transactional. But yeah, I don't have time. That's another thing. I just generally don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, bills got to be paid and all kinds of stuff. So like I said before, I do a few things. So whenever I do get on the controls, I make sure that my time is very concentrated and I get the most out of it. And because of that, I only pick up certain projects and I work within a certain kind of remit. Yeah,
sure. That makes sense. Just a couple more questions to you, brother. One question is, what can an up-and-coming musician do now to better their position?
I hate to say it, but utilize social media. That's been like the massive difference I've seen over the past decade, man, of just getting yourself out there. Utilize social media. I guess maybe the way that we would have done it, because social media wasn't that hot in our time, get yourself to jam sessions and play, meet people.
Yep.
That's another thing. I think there's a story actually somebody told the other day. Is like somebody just got in their DMs. Is like, I wanna play. It's like, okay. So do I, but it's like it's the way that you go about it. Especially the older generation like to see you at events and get down and show that you're actually supporting the thing, because it's easy to tell people who are here for the music, who want to get involved, that want to help the idea, the brand grow, and understand that you actually have to be a part of it, as in go and support the thing, buy a ticket. You know, if you like that person, you want to get involved with them, shake their hand, you know what I mean? Face to face, you know, we're still humans. We can't ever water down that initial first impression that you get from people, because people are getting first impressions from what you put on your Instagram. That's manipulated. You don't show the bad times. It's just there to show the good times. And I know stuff like Instagram, TikTok has ended up becoming somewhat a bit of a CV for a musician, a producer. That's not going to change, unfortunately, but you have to be smart of how you use it. So, you know, one, if you're up and coming, utilize social media, show them what you can do. Two, get yourself down to jam sessions, events. Don't always go asking for guest lists. Like, you know what I mean? Dip into your pockets, buy that ticket, get yourself there, listen to the concert, go away. You know, use it as part of your journey. Come back better. Be ready for it. Three, just make sure if you're gonna do this game, like, don't go in with a toe. You need to put your whole foot in the water, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to go in the deep end. You're gonna feel uncomfortable at certain times, but those kind of things can shape you as a musician, and it can make you realize that there's certain things you thought you were strong at that you're not actually. So you need to go home and do your homework. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before you even try to get to that jam session, you need to be able to, you know what I mean, do X, Y, and Z, play in these kind of modes, play that kind of track, be able to play that speed, or, you know, those are kind of very particular focused things about instrumentalists. But yeah, you just gotta make sure you're prepared. But, you know, don't be afraid to get burnt a little bit, because those are the best ways you learn.
Oh, absolutely.
I think, you know, those are the kind of the best lessons you can take from it.
Yeah, because you don't want to get burned again.
Exactly. Yeah, facts. You know what I mean?
The amount of times I've been on let's say Troy Bar in East London in Shoreditch. I've been on stage on a Friday night when I was younger, and flipping musicians are killer. And you get on stage, you're like, wowzers, I need not be here. Do you know what I mean? Why did I make this decision? I could have stayed sitting down. But, you know, you go for it, and then you're like, cool, the next time I come, I'll be ready. And then you're not ready, and you're like, crap, okay, cool, the next time. And it takes a while before you're like, oh shit, I am ready. I am ready. And then you go on to the next one and the next one. But sure, like, level up 100%. And lastly, I end all my conversations with this question. Still working on the wording, and I promised I'd do it 4 conversations ago. What is the single most valuable opinion you currently have of yourself?
The opinion that I have of myself? That is a hell of a question. What opinion do I have of myself? I think that I've learnt a lot on my journey. I've made many mistakes on my journey. But I feel at the moment, I've worked a lot on my sound and the things I won't compromise on, which has kind of taken a lot of time to figure out. I guess that's growth, because that now, you know, I'm in my late 30s, so, you know, that's come with a lot of experience in the game. But my opinion, I think highly of myself, and I say that with a pinch of salt, because I don't want to sound like I'm really self-indulgent. I think highly of myself because I know what I've had to do to get here. I've still got things to work on to further myself, but I could like sit down and look myself in the mirror. It's like, okay, I've actually put the hours here to be in the position that I am. Don't stop now. Don't stop now, or don't relax. Don't get complacent. You know what I mean? That's something I have to be very, very honest with myself. Like, complacency can wipe you off the face of the earth. Like, you know, you think you're where you think you're there, you put your tools down, people could see when you're unarmed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So keep on top of yourself. When you think you've got to the place that you've always wanted to get at, there's still extra 20% to go before you actually, because where you think you're at and you think you're good, there's already somebody else 10% better than you that just either hasn't come out yet or just doing it differently. So yeah, when you think you're there, you're not actually there. You're just maybe 20% away from where you should be.
That's huge. KingCrowney.
Love, my bro.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Good chat.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you know who else said that? You may have come across him. Rob Harris, guitarist for Jamiroquai. He and everybody. He was saying that like with his younger self, he always had a goal to be here. Let's say his younger self is here and he had a goal to play on this stage. And by the time you play on that stage, there's so many other things happening. There isn't even time to recognize the fact that I've achieved a milestone that was one of the reasons I started playing. Because I'm here now, but there's 10 other lanes, do you know what I mean, that I've got to navigate. So then you start hitting these things, but then it's not even about the egoic kind of adulation of it all. Look at me, I made it. It's not about that, because like you said, you can't be complacent. Can't be complacent at all. It's huge. Yeah, man, I really appreciate that.
I'm good.
But yeah, brother, do your thing.
No, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, anytime. You got to come here and make some music, bro.
Whoa,
like, this is always here, man. If you want to come and try and utilize it, do things, shout me.
Oh, brother, that'd be amazing.